everyone, this is Bobby at the Paper Jungle. Thanks for stopping by and checking out my new project. This is a project I made using the Craftology box from August 2022. This one is a exclusive design by Country Craft Creations called Always Happy. I have to stop and think. I lose my train of thought sometimes. Anyway, if you're not familiar with the Craftology box, that is a subscription that comes out every other month, so there'll be 6 kits per year. This one is an exclusive collection to Country Craft Creations. Sometimes it's other things that she chooses, but they're always equally beautiful papers. For this one, there was 2 pieces of chipboard in your kit. I used those 2, and then I cut out a spine with some chipboard that I had in my stash, and on the spine and the back I just used a hexagon shape that I had in my stash and cut out some little shapes from the scraps that were left, the offcuts, and just did the back and the spine that way. Whoops, there's a magnet in the front. These little flowers are Heartfelt Creations. The small rows, I have the stamp, the die, and the mold. And I'm telling you what, when you have all 3, they just make such beautiful dimensional flowers. And then I have the stamps, the dies, and the mold for the leaves. And I believe it's called Leafy Accents. And Tammy does carry these in her shop. And I will put a description to the Craftology box in the description box. I'm not sure if it's sold out yet. When I spoke to her a few days ago, it was not sold out at that time, but it may be by now. So I have a magnet here on the front, and when you open that, this is the stamp set by Graphic 45 that was in your kit, and I stamped out Life is Beautiful, and then this daisy says Hello Sunshine, and I just colored it in with a few colored pencils. When you open it, some of my little frills I spilled some when I fixed the flowers. On the inside cover, excuse me, I have a cold. This is held by a magnet. It opens out, has 2 small photo mats here, and a larger area. This says Queen Bee on it. That was in your stamp set. And it opens this way for a full layout. Oops, falling out. And then we have a slide. I just cut 2 butterflies from a Tim Holtz stamp that I had in my stash, and then I made it so you could see it on both sides. And you have plenty of room in here to put more photo mats and things. Same with this pocket, you can get more in there than what I have. This is one of the cut-aparts from the collection. I just backed it on the yellow card that comes in your kit, and then I made a little trifold booklet, and I used, I made a pocket here, and I used some of the cut-aparts in this pocket. You also have this glimmer green in your kit. Here's another one of the bee cut-aparts, and this wording here, and this honey jar, all are on the cut-apart. Okay, and that goes back in there. Closes up like that. And then here, let me make sure I'm still in frame. I don't want to lose you there. This little bow unties. This ribbon was in your kit. And we have 4 photo mats here in a tag shape, held by a magnet as well. The magnet is in here and in here. And again, we have Life is Beautiful, and it's open where you can put your photo up under it. I'll tie all these ribbons up after we're done. And in here we have a little folder, and I just had this green twine in my stash, and I mounted the one of the doilies behind it, and there's 3 doilies in your kit. So it opens out like this. So that gives you 5 photo mats. And on this side, we have a little belly man with, I think these are called roll clips, I'm not sure. I just tied a little butterfly to it. These are from your stamp set, and again I colored it in with colored pencils. Same thing with this one. There you go. And I took the little tiny stamp in the kit and I stamped some more bees here. And here's that honey bottle again. There that goes. And then you had 2 coin envelopes in your kit. And I just cut some strips of the design paper from my scraps and just covered the coin envelopes. And then I cut out 2 little tag shapes. And I have a punch that does this notebook edging, and I just punch the top of them. So that is that. And on this page we have a photo frame, and your photo slides in from the side. Let me find a piece of paper so I can show you. Your photo slides in from the side, and that's how you get your photo in there. It just fits in the pocket, and there's room for more photo mats in there. Then it lifts up and you have a large photo area here. In this paper gorgeous, I just hated to cover it up, but there's plenty of room for photos if you want to add it there. Then we have another photo frame just like the other one that is open on the side, so you can put your photo in, and I have one of the doilies behind it. And then this little envelope, this is a split page. This is page 4, and I split it so that I could get 2 items there. This is just 2 photo mats in there. More of that green twine. And then the second half of that flap opens this way and this way. And these are just blank photo mats. You have room for 1 photo here, and then 2 or 3 in this little pocket. So that goes that way, and then we have a notepad here that slips under this belly band, which also forms your closure. And I've got it covered front and back, and it's just held with 2 eyelets, so you can untie it and replace your paper when you run out. So that is my project. I'm real happy with the way it turned out. I hope that you enjoy it, and if you make one, I would love to see your finished project. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye now. Hi everyone, it's Bobby. I am working on the Craftology box for August. This is the, I think it's called Always Happy. It's an exclusive collection by Country Craft Creations. You had 2 pieces of chipboard in your kit that were 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. So I wrapped both of those, and then I cut a spine 5 3/4 by 2 1/2, so I could make an album with it. And then I covered the inside with a piece that's 4 1/2 by 5 1/2, and then we can start building our album. So I'm going to do a different kind of a closure this time. So I'm going to do that first because it is going to fit on the inside of the back cover. So the first thing I'll do is ink this piece with some black soot, and then I'll show you how I'm going to add the closure. So this is going to be the closure, and I'm using the 1-inch spacers. I have a piece that's 12 by 4, and these little pieces are 2 inches wide. This one is 5 1/2. And I'm going to add it down. Where's mine? There it is. My little picky doodle. Take these backers off. And I'm going to lay that down. And when you do these, if you put it right into the corner first and then line up your top, the side will be perfect every time. So I need a small space, and these are 2 by 2 3/4, and I have 2 of those. So let me get the backer off of it. And this is a lightweight chipboard that I had in my stash. This did not come in your kit. But Tammy sells that if you don't have any on hand. So I'm going to use a piece of lightweight chipboard as my spacer. And I'm going to put my corner in here just like I did up above and line it up. That's all the space I need. And I got it a little bit crooked. Yeah. And this is going to run really close to the edge, so I'm probably going to have to piece that a little bit. But that's okay. It's going to be on the hinge. And it's going to be covered, the closure I mean, and it's going to be covered with design paper anyway, so we won't worry about that. I could have pasted this at a 1/2 inch, and I probably should have, but I didn't. But you can make yours at a 1/2, and then you won't have to piece your paper. So I'm going to put this one in here and line it up, and there we go. So let me find a little piece of scrap here, something that's 4 inches wide. This might be, I think it is. Yeah, that is 4. Where did I get water at? So I'm just going to cut a 3-inch piece here, 3 by 4. And I think that's more than I'll need. I'm sure it is. Get my spacers to put away. Rid of these backers. I get too much stuff out here and I got a small space to start with, so have to be careful what I'm doing. So I will just take a piece of score tape and attach these two together. Piece a 1/2 inch. And get my little tearing tool. I think I'll put a second one on there just for security. Okay, there's that. Take these off. Put a little glue where that tape curled up. Put it along this edge too, just to be safe. Uh-oh, here's the baby yelling. Must be time to eat. And we're going to line this up, oops, right above the score tape. Now I can cut it off at 1 inch. Grab a spacer again. We'll cut this off. Better too much than not enough is the way I look at it. There we go. Can't cut straight today. Okay. Get rid of my junk. Well, come on. I gotta put things away as I go or I won't have anywhere to work. Okay, scoring tool. There's this one. And I like to burnish down the side of my chipboard. It just helps break down the fibers a little bit and helps them fold better. Put this back. Okay. And we go between here. We don't need a lot of room. Okay. Now let's burnish these. Fold and burnish. kind of long. Okay. Now the little short ends. And we'll wrap it just like we would the album cover. Do all 4 ends, sides and ends. I like to go along the edges and make sure I've got a nice smooth crease there. Helps when you're gluing your papers down. Okay. Now, I am going to use some score tape. A lot of people don't, but I still like score tape for this part. So I'm going to add score tape to all 4 sides. You don't have to, you can just use all glue if you want to. But I use a combination of score tape and glue for this. Need my little tearing tool again. There's that. And a little bit across here. And here. Okay. Okay, so this is going to roll under, and this is going to fold under. This is going to make our closure. I want to, first thing I want to do is cut out these corners a little bit. But I don't like to miter this edge. I want to cut away from the fold just a little bit because I don't want to expose that cardstock. And then take out most of it for the bulk. And go the other way. Too awkward. I like to make sure my cardstock is covered good, or chipboard. So I'm going to pull this off and add a little glue. And push that to the inside. You can see how it covers the edge. That I like. Well, everything keeps sticking to me. Now I can trim this down. Like that. Okay, same thing on this end. You can cut away more if you want to, you know, it's just a matter of personal preference. There's no absolute way to do it, it's just what works for you. And I've had times where I've mitered this, and then my corner shows and I have to go get some ink and do some maintenance on it. So I like to burnish those down, just to make sure it's good and tight, covered. And now I can miter this. Just lay it right by your chipboard and cut it at an angle. Turn it over this way. It's a little bit thicker on this end where I added that other piece. Okay. There we go. Now we can wrap the inside. I'm going to put plenty of glue in there. Oh, thought I still had the tip on it. Let's wrap that nice and tight, straight. Don't want my glue oozing out. And same thing to the other side. Now this piece is going to make kind of a belly band effect on the inside of the back cover. I've never done this before, so I hope it turns out right, but it's every now and then I have these strange ideas of something new to do, and we'll see if it works out. And this is not tapered close enough right here. I can see a little nub sticking up. There we go, that's better. Now let's roll it over. Okay, so now what we have is, let's find our folds. There's that one. And here's the next one. Video. Is it on this end? It's on this end. Good thing I didn't try to force it. There we go. So this is what we're going to have. Let me get the cover out. This is going to be the base page here. And we'll paper this, of course. This is going to be your belly band. It'll sit in here like this. It will come up. And over the cover of the album. And then this is going to sit up here. Make sense? I hope. Okay, this I think this needs to be trimmed up just a hair, because I feel like it's awfully, if I put it like that, it's right into the fold. So I'm going to take about 1/8 of an inch off of this, and then I'm going to ink it and glue it down, and then we'll work on this some more. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I have wrapped this piece. Oh, we wrapped it together. I added cardstock to each of the pieces. You don't need to put any here because that's going to be face down. So what I'm going to do is add glue to this, but I want like a 1/2 inch strip. Let me see how wide this is. That is 1 inch, so I'm going to cut this. And this piece is 2 inches. So I'm going to cut a piece 1 7/8 by 1/2 inch. Actually 2 little pieces, because I'll show you why. I just want a little bit of a spacer under there, because let me find my piece I cut for. My grandson moved everything around. It's not that one. What do you do with stuff? Ah! I'm all clobbering. He was over here a while ago. Not that one. These are the page pieces. He's moved everything around. Anyway, I'm going to glue these on the back side. I didn't get it quite short enough. Need to cut it a little bit shorter just to give me some leeway under there. I'm going to cut them down just a little bit. I wanted to find that other piece to show you. He moved everything around. Darn it. Don't even clobber you. Let me find it real quick. I'll show you. I gotta have it anyway. I'm gonna kick his behind. I don't know what he did with it. I'll find it in a little bit, but let me cut these two off and I will show you. I'm gonna make them just a little bit shorter, just to give me some, oh, I got it over here. That's my fault. Here I am blaming him for it. He didn't even do it. I'm going to glue these on the back side of this just to give myself a little leeway. And before I glue it down to the base, I'll make sure that I don't need to stack two together. I'm going to glue one right here. Here. Make sure my piece isn't too big. Nope, it's not too wide. Cool. Okay, when this lays down, the reason for the spacer is just to give myself a little room so that when I slide this under, it will fit. This is going to be a little notebook, and that's the cover there, and it'll hang like that. Ta-da! Here I was fussing that he took it and he didn't. I did it. So I need to make myself a mark because I invariably don't get things straight. Well, let me get my T-square here. And see where I want it. I want it about midways, and I want to line that up so that it's straight, and that looks about even, right? Line that up. I'm going to line that right even with this paper. On the edge. Okay. So I'm just going to put glue on these two little tabs so that it's going to make a belly band type thingy. Make sure my T-square is lined up. And I'm going to put it right there. Now, I wish I had something heavy to lay on it. Oh, you know what I do? I have this copper piece my grandson gave me. I'm going to lay it right over it, just to hold it in place until it dries. And then, I have the two hinge pieces, and I'll explain to you what I did. This piece measures 2.5 by, I think 5.5. Yes, 5.5. This one measures 1.5 by 5.5. I scored each one at a 1/2 inch on the long sides. Then when I scored this, I scored these two areas. I scored a 1/2 inch, then I made a tick mark at a 1/2, tick mark. Well, this is a 1/2, this is 1, then a tick mark at 1 1/2, then a score line at 2, and I cut it off at 2 1/2. This one I just made a 1/2 inch and 1 inch, and it's done. The reason for the tick marks at the top and the bottom is it helps me line it up to get it straight. So when I add glue to this track here, I can match up the tick marks here and here and know that it's perfectly straight. And then that will sit right in here like that. And that'll be our hinges. I just like the Stack the Deck better than the hidden hinge. I don't care for the hidden hinge because there's 2 thicknesses on each one of these flanges, and they're stiff, and I just think they're hard to work with, and they don't let your pages lay as flat as this one does. At least that's my feeling. And you may like the other better. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of personal preference, and I don't care for it. I've used it in a lot of albums, and it's just not my favorite. But we all like different things, you know, so either way is fine. Then on this larger one, I'm going to have a split page for page 4. So what I did was, this is 5 1/2, so halfway is 2 3/4. So I measured 2 3/4, and I cut straight in, and then I took out a little V so that I'll have 2 separate flaps, and I can make 2 smaller pages on the back. So I'm going to attach these 2 together, matching up my tick marks, and put it in the center, and then I'll be back. Alright, thank you. Okay, now we're going to move to the front cover. And I left my pen out of my glue. I hope it's not dried up. I'm terrible about that. Make sure it's okay. Yeah, it's good. I got lucky this time. Okay. Let me take this out. I just slipped that piece in there that goes in the back. For now, until we get ready to do the measurements and the embellishment and all of that. Ugh. Sinuses drive me crazy. Okay, first piece for the inside front cover is, and I added a piece of paper to it just to save time. Get my junk out of the way. This one is 12 by 5 1/2, and you're going to score it at 2 1/4 and at 7. Actually, 2 1/4, 7. Excuse me, and 7 1/8, just to give us a little leeway. This is going to fold in. You can make a pocket out of it. You don't have to, but I probably will, just because I like pockets and inserts and all of that. This is going to attach to the inside of the front cover. This second score mark at 7 1/8 is where your glue is going to go. Up to that point, and then that edge is going to line up just inside the cover. Okay? And we're going to glue this down. Then I can take the pin back out. Didn't look like I got that cut straight. Let me trim that up just a little bit here. Ink that again. Okay, so the glue is going to go from the second score line all across the back. If you want to leave this open at the top for another insert pocket, you can. I'm not going to. I don't like lots of stuff sticking out from the top of my album. Occasionally I'll have a tag or something the ribbon or twine sticks out, but it's not my favorite thing. So this second score line is going to line up and kind of eyeball it from top to bottom. A little bit closer to the edge. See if I've got it even. Looks to be even. So we're going to burnish that down. Oh, it's not even here. Oh my goodness. It's got to be even from the top to the bottom. There. That looks better. And it will fold in like that. Now I will cut 1-inch pieces, score them in half, and make little tabs for the inside so that I've got some depth in there. Then your second piece is, I've got it written on this side. I think it's not, no, it's 11 1/4, so it's 5.5 by 11 1/4. You're going to score it 4 at 8 5/8 and 8 7/8. So it's going to go like this. This piece is going to attach just inside the spine. And that will give you a pocket in here. And then it will go down like that. This will fold in first. This will fold on top of it, and we'll have a magnet. So our magnet, let me attach this down and then we'll decide where to put the magnet. I don't want the magnet all the way at the bottom because it's too much thickness in between. So what I'm going to do is add glue here. This edge and this edge. I'm trying not to lean in because I just took a shower and I have rollers in my hair. And you don't need to see my rollers. So it's going to go about there. Once I line it up at the top and the bottom. I want it just inside that score line so it doesn't interfere with these hinges. There we go. Whoop. Oh, wait a minute. I wanted to put hinges on there. What a goober. I'm glad I caught that in time. Let me make the 1-inch hinges. Hold on. Need a bone folder. I got to score it at 1/2 and cut it at 1. Let me score 1/2 and cut it at 1. And how tall do they need to be? How deep is that pocket? The pocket is 2.5. So just under 2.5. We'll make it 2 3/8. Okay. Now we're cooking. Oh, I got the sniffles today. I'm glad I caught that before it glued down. Okay, there's our little hinges. And I'll have to cut 2 more for that one, but no biggie. I'll do that off camera. And I like to taper them just slightly. especially at the bottom. I don't need to at the top, probably, since I cut them a little bit off. So, okay, we're going to glue these down. So that the folded edge is towards the outside. And the other one. Just like this. Just inside that edge. Now we can glue it down. Almost made a boo-boo. I've been known to do that too. Should I put one down there? Yeah. I don't think I will. I think it'll be okay. Okay, now let's try this again. Alright. There. Whoops. Under there, a little tricky. Make sure they're straight with the sides. Make sure it's even so we get a good seal. Okay, and I'll put my metal thingy down here again and let it sit for a few minutes, and then I'll be back. Hey everybody, it's Bobby. I am back, and I think we're ready to make our pages. Excuse me. We have 3 pages that are 5.5 by 5.5, and each one of them will sit on one of the hinge flaps. So on page 1, what I'm going to do is I have a piece, and this will all be on your cut list, a piece that is 8 by 5.5, and I am going to just taper these edges here so that I don't have any overhang when I glue this down to the first page. Now this is going to be a tag shaped pocket. So what I'm going to do, and I have measured over 1 inch from the top on each side, 1 inch. And then I have measured down on each side 1.25 inches. And I'm just going to cut those off with my scissors. And that'll give us a tag shape. Get a shadow here. And we had some ribbon with this. Let me see. I've got it here. Yes. I've got the ribbon here. So I am going to attach this to a page, but I want to hook some ribbon under there first so that I have a way to close it. It's just going to open like this and then like this. So my ribbon, I need to wrap around before I attach it and make sure I've got enough to tie it shut. Enough to make a little bow. So let me trim that off. centered in the back. So that I've got the same amount, or close to it. Okay, and I'm just going to put a little strip of score tape under there. Not on the hinge part. Well, it's going to have to be on the hinge part. That ain't going to work. We'll put it right here. Is that going to work? No. We'll do it from here. So let's cut it in half. I have to think these things through as I go. If I put it under the hinge, then the whole thing's not going to open. So we're going to cut this in half. And score tape. So let's put it, this piece is 5, so we're going to put it about 2.5. Across here. And just inside this flap here. That's up one piece. So we got my little toe wrap. Let's do that. Make sure it's burnished down good. Come on, Turkey. Here it comes. Okay, so I lined it up here. Put it at 2.5, the center of the ribbon. Oops, it needs to go the other way. I'm getting ink everywhere. 2.5, right down the center line. Turn it around. Take this piece off. And put it at 2.5. Tapes back onto them ready to this one. I don't want it to stick down until I get my design paper on the back of it. There we go. Well, this one I can leave out because I'm going to glue it down. And I'm going to line this up. Just ballpark it a little bit from the top and the bottom because it's not quite as tall as the page. See. Yeah. So I'm going to add glue and I'm going to trim this off a little bit. Don't think I need it sticking up there. The glue's coming out very generous. Now I can decorate the front side of each of these pages before I add it to the book, but I have to add the pages in before I add the back side because there's no pocket in the center. So let's just kind of eyeball this from top to bottom, and that looks pretty good. Make sure it's lined up here with the edge. That down. There's my burnishing tool. When I tell you I move everything around, then I can't find it. I have to use this one right now. So that will be this one. And it will open out like this. spots back here. Okay, so there's page 1. And I will decorate these off camera, but I will come back and explain to you what I've done so that you don't have to watch all the cutting and the inking, because that takes a bit. I'm not the fastest crafter in the world. Okay, page 2. Make sure we got it. Yep. They should be square, but it never hurts to check. Page 2. Is a belly band. And it is going to go across the middle like this, but I want to put my design paper down first. This piece measures 3 by 12, and I've scored it at 2 and 7.5. And it's just going to stretch across like this. You can have this over the top, or you can have this one over the top, whichever way you like the best. That's page 2. Let me put a paper clip on this, because I want to put excuse me, the design paper down before I attach this, and I haven't decided what my design paper is yet. So I'm going to lay this one aside, but at least you'll know what the game plan is. And page 3 is, this is a flap that goes at the top. It is 7 3/4 by 4 1/4, and I've scored it at 1/2 and 5 3/4 with the 7 3/4 at the top. So this one will be your hinge, and this will be your flap. So we can go ahead and put this one down, and it doesn't go all the way to the end, so you don't have to miter these, because you don't have to worry about any overhang on these. So this one's going to go down. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it from side to side. And it looks pretty good. Make sure it's even at the top. It is. Oh, here's mine. Little goodie, my favorite one. Somebody sent me this. I wish I could remember who. And then this is going to fold, excuse me, fold up to make a little pocket. And I haven't decided if I want to put an insert in here, or if I just want to glue it straight down. So I'm going to set that one aside. Then page 3 is the one with the split hinge, and what I'm going to put there is this little pocket. Now I used a die that I had in my stash. Let me see if I've still got it out here. Yeah. I've had these dies forever, these border dies or edge dies, and I've never used them. And there's 4 of them in here, I guess. Yeah, 4 different ones to make pocket tops. And I just used this one. I took my 9.5 inch piece, and I scored it at 2.5 and 6.5 to make a little envelope. And then I put this at the top piece and ran it through my big shot and just cut the flap. And that's just going to open like that. And I'll either use a small magnet or Velcro, I'm not sure. But that's the plan for that one. That's the top section of that split page. And then on the bottom section, let me put this back so I don't lose it. These little small things can get lost so easy. And then on the lower portion of the split page, I have a piece that is, I think, 4 by 12. Jeez, too much stuff. And I have scored at 1.5. I wrote 2.5, but it's 1.5. 1.5, 5 and 5 1/8, and then 8 5/8 and 8 3/4. So let me change that on here. It's 1.5, not 2.5. Don't know why I wrote that down. So this will close like this and fold down, and this will attach right here into your, oh, it's not straight. reburnish this. And I'll put a piece of ribbon on here so that people can see it lifts up. And it'll lift up like that, and then you'll have a pocket in here. So that's the 4 pages. And one other thing that I made yesterday I thought was so cute. I wanted to make a slide. There's so many of them on the internet now. And I had a Tim Holtz butterfly stamp. So I stamped it out 3 times and I colored it twice. Just with colored pencils. And I'm going to glue the 2 together and put it in here. But what I did was I cut, I think these are 4-inch squares. Yeah, they're 4-inch squares of black cardstock. And I used a die to cut this zigzag border or scallop border. And I made myself a frame, and then I attached the acetate to the back of each one, and I doubled it so that it will show from front and back. And I'm going to sandwich the butterfly in between the 2, and then I'm going to trim these edges down real close to the yellows, so it's just a small border. But I thought that was really pretty, and that'll go in one of the pockets. So that's the game plan at this point. I will get some more, I'll get these decorated pages. I'll get those decorated, glue this together, and then I'll be back and we'll make some more inserts. Hi guys, I'm back with an update. I thought I better catch you up on what I've been doing so far. This is page 1. This is the one where we attach the tag shape to. Can't even think of what I want to say. This is the front side of page 1. Now, I'll have to add it to the hinge before I can actually put anything on the back. So when you untie the bow, I just wanted you to see what I've done so far. It opens like this, and I have a magnet in there, like that. I decided to add a magnet just to help hold it down. The other side of the magnet is back here. So this ties back up. And this beautiful was in the stamp set that came in your kit. The second page is, we had added this together, and I told you I was going to put some design paper down first. So I covered this little band with 3 little photo mats, and I fussy cut some of the bees from the design paper. And these 2, I put a white and a black circle underneath them, just using some dies I had in my stash. And then on this one, I used the oval and stamped out Queen Bee from the stamp set. And I've got a little bowl clip here. I haven't decided what I'm going to hang on it just yet. So there's page 1 and 2. Now page 3 I'm working on at the moment. And it lifts up like this. I was going to open it from the side, but I decided I wanted it from the top so I could have a pocket here. So I've got a photo mat underneath. And then what I'm going to put in the pocket is a kind of, I guess, a slide out. I'm going to call it that simply because the picture will slide in and out from the side. So what I'm going to do is I took a piece of black cardstock that is roughly 3 3/4 by 10.5, and I scored it at 5 and then at 10. And this is going to fold under. You burnish that. And I took a round oval die that I had and just positioned it what seemed to be centered to me. And I cut an oval circle, and then I did the scallop circle out of this paper that's upside down. It goes this way, and that will frame that. Or maybe it does go this way. I may have cut it this way. I did. I cut it upside down, but I don't think anybody's going to know the difference. A daisy's a daisy. The stems go the other way. Anyway, I have a piece of mylar I'm going to put under here, and then I cut a piece of design paper for the back. So I have the window sheet or mylar, whatever you call it. I've cut it 3.5 by maybe 3¼ or 3½ by 4½. And I've attached some score tape to it. I can get it off. Can't get a hold of it. Let me use my pokey tool here. See if I can get up under it. There we go. We'll get those off. Try to do it without getting fingerprints all over it. Overhang there, and I don't want that because I don't want it to stick it closed. And there. Okay, so we're going to put this right over the opening like that. And burnish this down real good. This is going to go on here. Do I like that side better or this side better? Ooh, I think I like that side better. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Glue this on there. Oops. For the back. And we'll burnish that down. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to this side and to this flap. I do want to miter these corners though. Sorry about that, I had to change the batteries. I decided just as I got ready to glue this down to put a piece of design paper underneath the oval so that when there's not a picture in there, it will still look nice. And then it's open here so that you can slide your picture inside. And that is going to go in this little pocket. Right there. Get it over that hump. And that will sit in there like that. You know? Over there. I want it to sit where I want it to sit. There, it's center. Okay, so that is page 3. Now page 4 is the split pockets. I haven't put those together yet. I do have another little folder here I wanted to share with you, and I don't know if I'll even use it in this one. I scored it wrong, so I'm going to add some lace to cover these score marks. But this is just simply, if it'll fit inside the folder, I'll use it. But I wanted to show it to you anyway. This is 10½ by 4. I put my pen, well no, I need the glue. And it is scored at 3 7/8 and 7 5/8. What I'm going to do is I made these little accordion pieces, and they are 2 7/8 inches tall, scored every ½ inch, 1, 2, 3 times. So your total piece is 2 inches wide. So we're going to glue those in there to make us a little accordion pocket. So I am going to glue these on the inside of the, let me make sure I don't need to taper them. I might need to. I don't. So I am going to glue it with the green facing the outside because that's what's on the outside showing. And I'm going to put it right inside the edge of this little folder. Right like that. Just leaving like a 1/16 of an inch there. And then this side I'll do the same thing. Turn it around where I can see what I'm doing. Just above the scored line, just in here. And just inside that edge. Now we'll fold these down. And add glue to them. This way you can add all kinds of photo mats and embellishments. So we're going to close this down, line it up with the sides, and finish that into place. That makes your little accordion pocket. Folds like this. And I'm going to round these corners and ink it, and then I'll be back. Oh, one more thing I'm going to show you. The little notepad for the back. Let me get rid of these scissors. I got too much stuff out on a small space. Put those in here. Put this up. And this. Okay. Here we go. Get rid of the score tape. This doesn't go there, and neither does this. Okay, on the notepad, move this over. It is eight, I think, by 4. Yeah, 8 by 4. And I scored it at 2.5. And then I measured down. How far did I measure? I probably wrote it on your cut list, I'm not sure. I measured down 3/4 of an inch from the top and an inch in from each side. And then I punched my holes. But you want to attach your design paper before you add your eyelets. So I'm going to ink this and glue it down, then I'll have to re-punch my holes and add the eyelets. The eyelets will only be added to this part and this part. That way you'll be able to add thread through there or baker's twine and replace your paper once it's used. You'll be able to replace it. So that'll make that reusable. Alright, so that is that. This I was going to put in here. I don't know if it's too long or not. No, it's not. It fits fine. So that will be my notepad. Okay? That's all I wanted to show you right now, and I will be back when I have more ready. Alright, we are ready to move along with this. I have added my papers to the front cover. I think I can take these off now. I've just used the yellow that was in your kit with the bumblebee paper. And then my magnets are here, and I just cut 3/4-inch circles to cover the magnets, and it's going to latch there like that. And I don't have the sunflower die from Heartfelt Creations, but I do have the small rose, so I'm going to use this yellow paper here and make some yellow roses to go on the front and some greenery. This piece is one of the cut-aparts, and I'm going to attach it here, and then the flowers and leaves will billow out from underneath that. Now I've added my pages to the book so that I could show you what goes on the back of each page. So on the back of page 1, I'm going to put one of the doilies, and I made this little folder, unties like this, and I taped the string on the back so that I can glue just the 3 sides, and then whatever I slide underneath it will stay in place. So this is 2 pieces, 9 inches long. One is 3 wide and one is 4 wide, and they'll hook together just like this and make a little booklet that will sit on here. So let me put that together. And I just used white cardstock, and I used a stamp and put some bees on each of the pages. So let me put this in the center. Sure it's matched side to side. And then I want to put the doily down. We've had a lot of storms here today. It's been thundering and raining. And we haven't had any lightning, thank goodness, but lots of thunder and heavy rains. My grandson works outdoors, and I thought sure he'd be home by now, but apparently it's not raining where he is, but it sure has been raining here. Okay, I'm going to put it off to the side just a little bit. Smooth that into place, and then I'm going to glue this along both long sides and across the bottom. And we can make a tag or a photo mat or whatever to put behind it. So this is going to go like that. And I'm going to put it right there, just so the doily peeks out and down a little bit. Straighten it up a little. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave the strings loose for now. And I have a little butterfly that I'm going to dangle from here. And I think I have another charm that is a flower. I may have a bee too, I'm not sure. But I'll tie something on here, and I stamped some little bees on the background there. Then I already have a doily down on here. And let me see, what did I have? Oh, I know. These 2 little coin envelopes. I'm going to glue this shut. I just put some scraps on it. Some little strips of scraps that I had left. Tied a ribbon around it. And it just make a little pocket for tags or little mini whatever. And I'm going to glue it down all the way around, because it's fairly thin and I don't want it to fall apart if I try to make a tuck here. I'm afraid there's not enough thickness. So I'm going to put this one up this way. And this one, let's glue that down. I'll just put some kind of small embellishments in there. And I thought I might cut out another bee. Maybe stick a bee on there. The bees are so cute that's in this collection. And this one is going to be down a little bit. Just like that. I should have put that one over farther. But I didn't, and I'm not going to pull it up. I'm afraid I'll tear the doily. Now the last one I have is page 3. And this one is a photo frame. Just like, I did it just like this one. The only thing is it's a single thickness, and I have a flange at the top and the bottom. And this is going to go in the middle, and I want my doily to be underneath it until the photo is put through. So I want to kind of center where you can see some of the eyelet at the top and the bottom. Like that. Let me position that. Okay. And I'm just going to tack the doily down from the top, and then the bottom, and then put my photo frame over the top. I like that. It looks straight. I believe it is. Oops. Need to tack this down. Okay, now I'm going to move this over, tie this one shut, well, maybe I am. It's always easier when you're off camera. Try to hold it in place so it doesn't loosen up too much, and it always does. We'll catch it in a minute. So that takes care of that, and we'll snap this in place, and I'm going to glue this on, and then I'll finish. I'll make my flowers for the front, probably a few more inserts to go in some of the little tuck spots. And then when I come back, it will be for the walkthrough that you will see before this tutorial, which will give you an opportunity to decide if it's something you want to make. And if you do, I hope you'll share photos and let us see what you've created. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the walkthrough. Bye.